Let's get right to the breaking economic news. The April jobs report was released moments ago. It shows that the U.S. economy added 175,000 jobs last month. That is lower than the 240,000 that economists were expecting. The unemployment rate ticked up to 3.9%. Joining us now to analyze this, NBC News senior business analyst and host of the 11th Hour right here on MSNBC, Stephanie Ruhle. Chief White House correspondent for the New York Times, Peter Baker. President of the National Action Network and host of MSNBC's Politics Nation, the Reverend Al Sharpton. Jen Palmieri and Lauren Leader are also still with us. So, Steph, let's start with you. This came in a little lower than expected. Still decent growth. Give us your take.
Listen, it's a bad news, but good news number. Remember what the Fed has been trying to do for over a year. Keep the economy moving, which it is, but slow it down because inflation has been a problem. So, yes, the number is lower than expected, but unemployment is still below 4%, right? We haven't had a run like this in over 40 years. That is a net positive. And what people have been waiting for is for the Fed to cut rates. And when the Fed starts to see things slow in a healthy way, we could get closer to a rate cut. We all know one of the biggest problems out there is inflation. Almost everything in our lives, from buying a house to renting a house to gas in our car to food at the grocery store or coffee down the street, all cost a whole lot of money. And we're starting to see businesses slow a bit. Whether you guys were talking about Starbucks and that effect yesterday or Walmart, Americans are starting to say, man, this stuff costs so much money. I either cannot afford it or I will not pay these high prices. So you're starting to see a little bit of a slowing. And that's good news. You can already see by the market response, the market likes it.
Yeah, plenty of green on the futures board there. So, Steph, let's talk a little more about the Fed and that possible rate cut. We just heard from Jerome Powell a couple of days ago saying, nope, not now. That was to be expected. You just left open the door for a possibility of a cut. But my question to you is, do you think that could happen between now and the November election?
It could, but remember one of the most important parts about the Fed. The Fed is independent from this White House. And something interesting that happened this week, the Wall Street Journal reporting that allies close to Donald Trump have already intimated that if Donald Trump were to be in the White House, he'd like to have more say, more control over what happens with the Fed. And the Trump campaign didn't deny that. That would be wildly dangerous, right? So you and I could speculate, will Jerome Powell do something? You always see economists reading the tea leaves. From a political perspective, the president would love for that to happen because obviously it would make borrowing cheaper. But the Fed must stay independent. It's essential. So we don't know if it's going to happen. But with a jobs number like this and the fact that the Fed isn't necessarily concerned that inflation is running away with us at this point, well, that's good news for those who would like to see a rate cut. And that's pretty much everyone.
Let's bring in now CNBC's Dom Chu for further analysis. Dom, good morning. Thanks for hopping on with us at a moment's notice. What's your take on these numbers?
So, I mean, it's being treated for now, kind of like what Steph has said, as more of this kind of Goldilocks scenario, right? We're almost like we're back in a bad news is good news scenario from a market's perspective. Not that it's necessarily bad news. I mean, job growth still remains. That's a key here. It's just not as robust as it's been over the course of the last few years since the pandemic. But if you break things down a little bit more beyond some of those headline numbers, I mean, the 175,000 jobs is notably less than the 240,000 consensus. The unemployment rate, yes, it did tick 0.1% higher. Average hourly earnings did manage to keep growing. That's a good sign, but not by as much as to trigger fears of wider spread wage-driven inflation. Those wages did grow by 0.2%, more than the previous month, which brings us to roughly 3.9% gain over the same time last year. So that is enough, by the way, to outpace inflationary pressures, but not by as much as to possibly lead to more consumer spending that could drive more inflation to a higher level. Now, for where the jobs were, it's a little bit interesting that there's a shifting dynamic here. The biggest gains did come in healthcare, which added 56,000 jobs. You had social assistance add 31,000 jobs. So those are treated more defensively, right? They're not as economically sensitive. social assistance, and healthcare especially. Meanwhile, transportation and warehousing, 22,000 jobs. Retail was around 20,000 jobs. Construction added 9,000 positions. So those are more economically sensitive, and they're starting to scale back some of that job growth. What's more interesting here is the labor force participation rate. It didn't change. But that broader measure of unemployment that takes into account underemployment, right? Those who are working part-time jobs out of necessity, that want a full-time job, those are discouraged workers. That number did tick slightly higher to 7.4%. So that underemployment rate is ticking a little bit higher. But from a market's perspective, I mean, you can't really dispute what's going on right now. We did see the stock market rally significantly on the heels of these numbers, and interest rates did drop notably. So there is this idea right now that with the current state of play, the Fed will not have to raise rates, maybe, going into the latter part of this year. That's never been consensus. But also that there's not much of a reason why they would have to kind of do anything different than what's happening right now. The real issue is going to be whether or not there is a rate cut and at what point. And guys, I would just note, just looking at financials futures markets tied to interest rates and the Fed, there is at least a slight move where some traders are predicting the first interest rate cut, if it were to hypothetically happen, would actually be a little bit closer to where we are now than, say, the latter half of the year past the election. So all of these are dynamics right now that are playing out in a place where, let's be frank, a lot of people are a little bit more in a transitionary phase right now about how they view the economy, especially going into this election, guys.
Yeah, deeply fluid situation, and we'll all be watching to see if those interest rates do, in fact, get cut at some point between now and November. CNBC's Dom Chu, thank you, and Stephanie Ruhle, thank you as well.